Hello, I'm Miss Sue Flay of MissSueFlay.com, and today I'm having a sneaky hot chocolate, which is unheard of. It's usually a good cup of tea or coffee. And I felt inspired to create a blog post on my favourite places to go for afternoon tea. It's the one question that I get asked a lot. This week alone I've had 3 people contact me, and it's only Tuesday, to say, I need somewhere to go for afternoon tea, where can you recommend? And I'm always pointing people to the blog, but I've got so much to say. So I thought I'd do a little rundown of some of my favourite places in Cambridge, in London, maybe a little bit further afield as well. Just a few suggestions depending on what you need and what you need it for. So let's start with Cambridge and Cambridgeshire. So Cambridge is terrible for afternoon tea. I might get shot for that. The best hotel I have found personally has been the Hotel Felix. Their afternoon tea is brilliant. I believe it's about £18 a head, and you do get a lot of handmade treats, lots of finger sandwiches, lots of tea, and the venue is quite modern. It's great for bigger numbers, so if you're a big party and you want to book somewhere with free parking in Cambridge, Hotel Felix is perfect. I would also say, and this can be a little bit controversial sometimes, is John Lewis are great for afternoon tea. Yes, it's central Cambridge. They have a pastry chef on site. Not all John Lewis stores do. Some of their cakes are bought in, but John Lewis in Cambridge has its own pastry chef, and their afternoon tea treats can be bought just as the cakes, just as the finger sandwiches, just as a cream tea, or a full-on afternoon tea. So there's now lots of choices. So no matter which element of the afternoon tea you prefer, you can have just that if you want, which I think is a great idea to break it down. Plus, John Lewis, is always a winner. It's a great little brasserie there that you can have your afternoon tea in. It's not very secluded. It's quite a big restaurant. You probably couldn't book a table as easily as you might be able to in a hotel. But if you're not looking for a formal afternoon tea, then I really like John Lewis. Outside of Cambridge, I would say Paddock's House and Poet's House. Poet's House in Ely and Paddock's House in 6 Mile Bottom near Newmarket. They're owned by the House Collection. You have lots of choice when it comes to afternoon tea. They're very good with gluten-free. I celebrated my 30th birthday with my family there. And they provided an awesome gluten-free version for my cousin. Nothing was too much effort. You can book, and it's something very special. The hotels are very luxurious. If you stay, you can experience their butler service. It's a very, very nice hotel. Again, not a very expensive afternoon tea. I will run down the prices within the blog underneath this video. So if you want to have a look at the links to all these venues with the prices, please keep reading. And I would say my go-to would be Paddock's House. It's very relaxed. It's a very country hotel, very country home, country estate kind of feel to it. It's a very black and white hotel with chandeliers. It's very decadent. I love it. And I would also say Bedford Lodge in Newmarket is the place to go for afternoon tea. I have to say that's probably one of my favourite all-time afternoon teas. Bedford Lodge, for the spa alone, is amazing. Their afternoon tea, I took 2 little boys with me when I was a part-time nanny. They were 8 and 11 at the time, and they absolutely adored it. They dressed up in their little black suits. We had a very relaxed afternoon tea, lots of silver cutlery, starch napkins. We did a little bit of geekery, afternoon tea etiquette. Everything would be replenished if we wanted it, so we had extra finger sandwiches. The warm scones come out wrapped in a napkin, in a cloth napkin, to keep them warm so they're not open to the elements and cool very quickly. And the cakes, wow. I use the photo of the cakes on a lot of my literature, so you may have seen it. You'll see it below in the post. Their cakes are stunning, to the point where you almost don't want to eat them. They look that beautiful. I did go to review that afternoon tea on agreement with the hotel, but I went back and had a sneaky visit the weekend afterwards, and I saw a hen party having the same afternoon tea, and they had the same service, which was fantastic. The same replenished goods as we were offered, exactly the same. So I know for certain that what I saw is what you will get. Bedford Lodge just makes any afternoon tea event just very special. If you want something a little bit more informal, Tea Cake of Shepworth, which is near Royston, they make homemade cakes. It's a very tiny little tea room. You can't really book a table, although give Chris and Morris a call if you wanted to make a booking. I'm sure they would accommodate you if they could. They have a gorgeous tea garden outside. If you're hardcore or a dog owner, you can sit outside pretty much all year round, I think. The tea room, it's a little chocolate box thatched cottage, and it is just beautiful. A pot of loose leaf tea and a homemade scone with jam, just sat reading the newspaper on a Sunday afternoon. It's one of my favourite things to do. Tea cake is brilliant. So going a little bit further afield, you have Congham Hall in Norfolk, not far from Sandringham House if you want to really make a day of it. Congham Hall Hotel is also a spa hotel, so you could go and have a treatment, you could stay. Again, I have reviewed this at length over an overnight stay, so you'll be able to see the links on misssouffle.com. I had the afternoon tea in the library and it was stunning. It came with lemon possets, although the spoons were a little bit too big to get into the pots themselves, so you couldn't get quite to the bottom. But it was beautiful. Again, so much food, you don't know where to start, and you end up taking a lot of leftovers home. But Congham Hall is something special if you want a nice countryside, romantic afternoon tea. I'd say that would be a great place to go to impress the ladies if you gents need somewhere special to take the girls. Ravenwood Hall, I went in the summer a couple of years ago. The afternoon tea was stunning. It came with, and I'll always remember, these little profiteroles with a vanilla creme patisserie in the middle and a marbled chocolate topping. They were to die for. They were so good. Again, so much food, I could hardly touch it, and I like my food. But to have afternoon tea by their outdoor pool in the summer would just be brilliant. I didn't, because I had already been outside for a swim that day, so I was getting out of the sun and had it inside. But afternoon tea out in their landscape gardens would be beautiful. You can play croquet there. It's a really, and again, a nice country estate, somewhere that you could really get lost in if you want something where you can all spread out as a big group. That would be perfect. Further afield, I would say Biddies of Norwich. They are great for afternoon tea, a really quirky vintage tea room. When I first went, they were just upstairs. They've now expanded. They have a downstairs tea parlour as well. Loose leaf teas, homemade pies, cakes, quiches, scones, you name it. They do more traditional cakes and treats, but also more modern ones as well. So the last time I went was just before Christmas, and I had a pot of spiced winter tea with a Snickers bundt cake, I think, and it was delicious. And you know that it's homemade, it's good quality. Biddies is great. It's on the lanes, and there's some really nice shops around it. So if you're visiting Norwich, it's just off the Market Square. Make sure you go to Biddies, you won't be disappointed. I would also say the BB afternoon tea bus. The BB Bakery in London, they're based in Covent Garden, it's a French patisserie, and it's family run. They've recently, this summer, just gone, created an afternoon tea bus tour. So it's an old red Routemaster double-decker bus. They have converted all the chairs and tables into afternoon tea tables, and each place setting has a little slot to put a teacup so it doesn't rattle around as they drive around London. You have a beautiful afternoon tea served to you and a 2-hour tour on the Route Master of all the sightseeing stops in London. I have to say, when I went, I didn't look out the window very much because I was too busy snapping away and geeking over my afternoon tea. It was fab. Such a good idea, so popular. They're doing it for weddings, private events, and you can book on the tours as well. So check out the BB afternoon tea bus. Such an amazing experience, and I can imagine for a hen party or a birthday party, that would be really memorable. I think for now, that's probably it. I have a whole new section on spas that I want to talk about as well, but I'll save that for another day. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. You know how much of a geek I am. And if you are going further afield, check out 42 The Calls in Leeds. Their afternoon tea was fantastic, very modern, lots of macarons, brownies, they were really gooey. Just remembering about that one. And if you read my blog, you'll know how much I'm falling in love with Leeds. And Manchester, visit the Great John Street Hotel. Amazing afternoon tea, very, very beautiful. It's an old schoolhouse. It overlooks the old Coronation Street set, so double win. I'm a bit of a geek. And their afternoon tea is somewhere you want to sit on the roof terrace, maybe sit on the outdoor jacuzzi for a little bit, have a glass of Prosecco, and then sun up and have an afternoon tea outside. The terrace on the top floor is stunning. Has beautiful views of Manchester, you can see for miles, and they've kept a lot of the old features from the school, so there's still lots of coat hooks and old shoes and hallways and passageways. It's just a really exciting hotel, so I'd definitely check it out. Hopefully that helps if you're looking for somewhere for afternoon tea that's a little bit special. Obviously this changes all the time, I'm always trying new places. If there's any that you want to know more about, drop me a line. You can tweet me at Miss Sue Flay or Facebook me, facebook.com/Miss Flay, or visit my website, misssueflay.com. Bon appetit!